Hello and welcome back to the Ecuador Insider Podcast. Jesse, Brandon, pleasure to be with you. It's cold again.
Windy. We got corrected, we called it winter here, and apparently it's Verano.
It's Verano, but
it's summer. But
yeah,
the
it's
reference,
winter.
But it's winter,
Yeah.
right? That's
I saw that as well.
yeah. So,
But
it is
we appreciate.
chillier
I
here.
think that Raul Izquierdo, that was Vivan, or that was Vivanco.
I think it was Raul.
Okay,
Perhaps.
we appreciate him watching.
No, it's awesome.
It's a frequent commenter and viewer of the channel.
Yeah, it's
it's
so for folks that are coming here this time of year is winter.
From back home, it's
from
winter.
back home,
It's the cooler time
the
of
cooler
year.
time of year is what the reference.
And really, it should be. I mean, Verano really is dry season.
Right.
I mean, I guess the word means summer, but really, it's dry season.
Yeah, it's drying.
It's only 2 seasons.
It's actually, it's definitely not rained in a while, right?
Yeah.
But it's definitely still greener than it's been.
It should
And
be.
Even here,
It's climate change. Brandon.
we've got the horses, and we thought we were going to have to supplement
With what?
with barley or something,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have to
Right.
because there's enough green all here. I mean, look behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our horse experts have said no need for supplementation. So even in the dry season this year, it's green, but it seems like things are changing all over, right? Like Europe's going through some really hot weather. You saw the geyser in Yosemite went off today. There's some weird stuff happening, man. I think, didn't a volcano go off in northern Ecuador? Is that
Did it?
true?
I don't know.
Mount Vesuvius.
Mount Vesuvius.
Maybe that went off somewhere.
Where is Mount Vesuvius?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of all the different volcanoes I could think of.
I feel like
Any of them go off?
I
Did
think they
dream
go
that?
off all the time.
No, but I thought there was.
Have you ever looked at the earthquake map?
Yeah.
There's
Dutch
earthquakes.
Sense. You ever watch Dutch Sense?
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah.
He's still doing it.
Yeah. It's great.
Is it?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the same thing. It's just
He's still doing the same
still
thing.
doing the same thing.
I mean, that was like when I discovered him was like 2010, 11.
Yeah, he's still doing it. I think. I mean,
No, he's still doing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. Same. Yeah.
One
It's
popped
interesting.
up and I was like, this guy's still. Yeah.
Yeah. Super interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, those things are so interesting. Like, there's so many theories and philosophies, and then it boils, and then it's like, is it round? Is it spinning? Is it flat?
Right.
Is there continents are connected in one way? The plates, and does that exist? And what does that have to do with the stars and the astrology and how's that work? And then you
Firmament,
throw in
firmament.
then you throw in the holographic nature of reality stuff.
Geomagnetics, the thermosphere, and then did you hear the recent? I just heard that they've discovered bodies of water below the Earth's crust, I forget how many. I don't know all the geology for what's below the crust, the magma. I don't remember from all that stuff, but apparently they found water, like oceans worth of water below some portion of the.
So we're inner
core.
Earth, hollow Earth, inner Earth.
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't even know if yeah, I guess.
Was it Admiral Byrd?
Admiral Byrd, yeah, Antarctica, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a thing.
There was they made that movie Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Was that The Rock? That was Brandon. There was
Yeah, that guy.
What was his name?
Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah.
That guy.
He was caveman. And,
Right.
yeah.
He was in that Pauly Shore movie.
Yeah. Right. That's my first Spanish language learning ever.
What was it?
¿Dónde está el baño? Here's the caveman.
And they referenced Jules Verne. And
Yeah.
it's interesting. It is all interesting stuff.
Because he kind of got blackballed from Hollywood for a long time.
Why, for political views or what?
I'm not sure exactly. But then I've seen him back. I think he just won a Grammy or an Oscar.
Oh, really?
I don't know what's the difference. I think Grammy's music, so I think there's an Oscar.
The difference is what group of decision makers decides
And what form of art?
who.
I think Grammys is music.
No,
Artists.
you're right. Grammys is definitely music. What degree of selling your soul do you have to do to win a Grammy?
Yeah. It's interesting.
High, medium, or low?
I saw a trailer just came out for The Joker 2. Did you see the movie The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix?
No, probably not.
It's really dark. It's really interesting, but it does a really realistic, in my opinion, realistic job on showing how a character in a comic book could become that, and from reality to like the origin of that in a way. So the Joker character, right? Yeah. So just they do a really interesting job, and he's a great Joaquin Phoenix. Whether you agree with
he's a great actor.
He's a great actor. Yeah. So he does this phenomenal job throughout this flick, and then they're doing a Joker 2. And the reason it just dawned on me because you said Grammy, we're talking music, and the woman who is seeing the Joker go through this thing and be arrested and blah blah blah, and falling in love with the madman is she did the movie with Bradley Cooper.
Oh,
Lady Gaga.
Yeah,
Lady Gaga.
I had said selling your soul, and you went to Lady Gaga.
Yeah, right. So it's just interesting, right? But it looks, man, we'll see how it comes, but.
Yeah. You know what this place is?
What place?
Earth.
Hollywood?
Earth.
What?
So it goes back, you said, you were talking about the Joker and showing how you become the Joker, right? Which goes back to something you say all the time, which is the stories you tell yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And that's basically what Earth is. It's a training program to realize that it's all you. Mm-hmm. It's a training program to realize that you're the master creator. And it's just you. And there's nothing else. It's just
right.
You.
Well, it's especially when you realize the power just you have over your own mind if you tell yourself a different story. Like it's self, like you can get the immediate feedback, right? It doesn't take delayed gratification for that. Like you can get immediate feedback by telling yourself a different story, and if you don't believe me, just try it. Right?
Yeah.
And you get it immediately, right? So if that doesn't convince you enough that you can change your reality by telling yourself a different story and immediately feeling different, like
it's amazing.
What other sign do you like? Here's your sign.
Yeah, the power in that is extraordinary.
It is quite extraordinary.
So we're down here in Ecuador, in Verano. And it's been windy. It's
It's quite windy.
Verano.
Dude, I lost a roof tile. All of a sudden we're sitting in there.
A panel, you mean?
No, there's a tile.
There's a tile.
Yeah, there's like the panels, and then there's like the ceramic tiles or whatever, the clay tiles.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we're sitting here and boom, and it just shatters and comes over, and I'm like, whoa, what the hell? And then Raul is here, and I tell him I have Bell go out and ask him, tell him that the tile blew off so that he knows, and come and look so he can see where it is, and we can get a new tile. And he doesn't come to the house. He climbs over the railing, comes over, walks around, looks up, starts picking them up little pieces. I'm like, I don't want him to pick it up. I just want him to know where it was so he can. She's like, it's okay, stop yet. like, all right, man, this guy's awesome.
Yeah. So, gosh, we're all still here. 2024.
It is 2024.
Whatever that means.
July. I mean, it means it's an election year in the United States.
Yeah.
It means that, we're 2024 years. What does that mean?
Since Christ, my friend. That's what they say.
Christ what?
I don't know. Was that his birth, his death? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Oh, well, it's AD, after death.
So. There you go.
Find that one through.
Wow. I was going to let you hang yourself for a sec.
I kind of did. I kind of did. I mean, I got there, but I was exposed in the getting there.
Yeah. 2,024 years after the death of Christ.
Yes.
The Son of God.
Yeshua.
That's
right.
Yeah.
Okay. You have something you wanted to say?
I mean, we're just talking about what the 2024 is. Wow.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time.
It's an amazing time. I mean, so you were sending me this thing that 2025 is, something to do with, I don't remember, but something about the currency and...
Well, there's the global
reset.
There's global liquidity trends.
Yeah.
And they're also, along with other monetary trends that are coinciding to a 2025.
Yeah.
Not event, but...
Which would coincide with a lot of other things, as permanently prescribed by the as above, so below phenomenon. So yeah, it's quite a time. I mean, this whole 2020 to 2025 stretch.
It's pretty wild.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you think about some of these, we were talking about before we started the pod with, the chicken and the egg with, consciousness and mass, what comes first? It comes first. Is it are some of these things manifested? Are some of these things being, are they being put out into the consciousness, into the narrative to get people to talking about them, to then that create, the new reality? Is it time travel? Is it back? Yeah. Is it people predicting? And it's interesting, when you think about all the things we've talked about over the last couple of years with global macroeconomics and the U.S. dollar and the petrodollar and monetary policy and debt and all that stuff. And there's a lot of these topics that have become more and more mainstream talking points, over the last four years for sure. But then you're starting to see things like I shared with you, you've got the assassination attempt on Trump. And so that is the world's news story, right? That is the single news story across the whole world, right? And now you've got a time where 4 years ago, it was taboo to vocally support Trump, right? It was taboo to not to stand up for Trump. And you saw a lot, you saw people losing, that were supporting Trump, pulling revenue, pulling advertising dollars, doing that stuff, threatening that stuff.
Is that right?
Yeah. And then this time, now you've got the assassination attempt. Now when the whole world is focused on that, you've got Elon Musk, who everybody knows anyway. He's ultra popular, right, in the world. You've got him coming out and endorsing Trump publicly, like blatantly publicly endorsing Trump at a time when everybody's watching, like everybody and their mother is on Twitter, is on X. Like their metrics are through the roof right now since the assassination attempt. So you have this confluence of events where the whole world's news story is this guy, this attempt, this assassination attempt, this person. You've got one of the richest men in the world who's also, a social political figure, leaderhead, thought leader, whatever you want to call him, devil, whatever, and people call him all kinds of things, to publicly endorse this guy at this particular moment in time when everybody's watching. And then all of a sudden you're seeing some of the tweets that he's putting out now. Now there are more eyeballs on Trump and Twitter and X and Elon Musk than ever in history. And he's putting out, how much is your dollar worth? How much value has your dollar lost? The U.S. is going bankrupt. He's tweeting these things out now when he's got more eyeballs than ever before, right? It's just interesting. So not that they're new concepts, they're not new stories, but they're new stories to some people on different timelines and different realities, different spots. And now that is coming through. So it's just interesting to think about, like, is that now gaining speed, in becoming reality, or or not? You know, like, is that, you know, I don't know. It's just interesting. It's not coincidence that that's happening all at the same time, in my opinion.
No, that's right. Well, no, there's no coincidences in this reality of any kind.
Perhaps.
You know, I'm up on this mountain now, as you know.
Yeah?
And
Did you name the mountain?
I haven't named the mountain.
Does the mountain have a name?
I don't know. Probably.
Well, then you should use that name. Don't name it. Conquistador.
I'll keep that in mind if it ever occurs to me to name the mountain.
You should name the mountain. You should know the name of the mountain. Like, do you look up and would you wake up and see the mountain every day?
Well, I see all kinds of mountains. I see all these mountains.
I mean, but when I look and see all these mountains, how many do you see? Really? Here, one.
No, all of them.
All of those over there. I'm not looking that way.
Right. But you're just very focused in that direction.
I mean, that's a pretty majestic mountain.
You put on, like, what are those horse racing?
Blinders. I mean, look at that. That's the majestic Mandango. I want to start a YouTube channel. Yeah. It's called Mandangos Mangos.
Yeah, you
what
do.
You think?
I think you should not do that.
Mandangos Mangos? It's pretty good.
What will you talk about?
I'll just do like just like a panoramic video every day of mandangos, and then I'll have like a little guy with mangos at the end, like a character. But it'll just show the subtle differences every day.
Plus the mangoes.
And then you add the mangos.
It's gonna be a hit.
You think?
No.
I should do it.
Okay.
So your mountain, that your unnamed mountain,
yeah,
that you look up every day and appreciate.
Yeah. It was really cool. I was up there in the other morning doing my morning routine, and
do you have a spot for it? Have you figured out a spot, or are you still in motion?
No, I got a spot for it. And
you tried more than one spot yet, or did you just know the spot?
You gotta hit the spot, and I hit it.
And it's important.
I mean, there's only a little bit of grass.
I know.
There's only one.
All right. You don't necessarily need grass. You didn't have grass on the rooftop.
A flat, smooth surface.
Yeah. Okay. So you got a spot.
Got a spot. And it was interesting. I had this experience where I could really, it was like I could see why I'm there right now, and like how the energy was running and what the whole thing was doing. And it just really, I don't know, it gave me a deeper connection and insight into the healing principles of just this land, just what is here that way. And why so many people, whether they know it or not, come here to heal, and why there's so many healers who live here. Mm-hmm. So many sort of masters of their healing arts in one way or the other live here. It was really a remarkable moment and sort of realization. It's fun.
It's interesting. So now, going back to our previous conversation, do you think that's because people feel it? Like, how do they know about it? Is it a calling?
I think it's a calling. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I think people are called here.
People are called.
It's random. Like, it's so random. I mean, and that's really the point of, like, for me, it's the point of why I do YouTube. Because it's, if you're supposed to be called here, I want to help in that process, because it's, Matt Monarch, similar to you, did that for me. Mm-hmm. And there was also, I've told this before, but the two videos I saw was it was this lady, I forget her name, Vinaya's wife, she's cool, they don't live here anymore, doing a Zumba class, through town or something, and it looked, this was the vibe of it, something about it I was just like, that's what I want for my kids type of thing. And it was that Matt Monarch video, and so I think people are just called here, like I was just called here, and I think when you talk to people who are here, they all have this totally random story about how they ended up here.
Yeah.
And, it's not, it's interesting. And I think a lot of people I think most, if not think almost all people that come here, on one level, again, and a lot of times I think it's subconscious, but sometimes it's conscious, but just come here to heal. Like, I think people come here to heal. And I think, again, going back to as above, so below, the stories, I don't know if they're myths or legends or fact, or history, like, I don't know, but what they say here locally, is that the Incan, and there's some discrepancy, so I don't know if it's the warriors or the royals or both.
I've heard both.
Would come here to heal specifically to this valley.
Well, specifically to
and
that
to Mondongo,
Right, yeah.
To heal, after battle, or if in the case of royals, perhaps not after battle, but just as it was understood that this point on the earth is one of those points where conducive to healing.
In the legend that I heard around that was at the end days of the Incan Empire. That was when this is it. Like, this is our final battle. Like, this is where we're going for our final rejuvenation, our final inspiration, our final, like, it wasn't like, oh, we're just gonna go heal on this mountain. It was like, hey, we're being conquered. Where am I going to spend my last days? Where are my last inspiration? That's here. Like, so some people spin that as like, oh, well, that they should have picked a different mountain, like kind of stuff like, and it's just like, no, or how about how powerful is that? Like that these people chose this, like they were so connected to the earth, so connected to, to themselves and nature and tradition and the energy in here, and they chose this, man. It's pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just continue to be just so blown away by the quality of human that makes their home here. And, we've come back to this many times, but just watching recently again, watching sort of the community in action around safety and crime, and watch how that has been playing out recently in terms of, once again in this country, the power of the people coming to the forefront, and the different levels of society that different people make their presence felt collectively. Mm-hmm. So, this class and this, and then, the people have power here and the people have power here, and the way that all works together, and the way that, truly, like, people actually, it's so cliche, but it's so true, the way that people actually come together to say, like, this is what we want in our lives. This is what we want as a collective. This is what we want as a community. It's been beautiful to watch over these last few weeks.
It's beautiful, and it's beautiful that there's action being taken and people coming together, and it's not just lip service, and then, like, the gratitude that's there, like the grateful. Like, another example that I saw of that was this weekend. We were in Loja this is kind of, I actually gotta tell an Ecuador funny story first, but remind me to get to the point about coming back to Vilcabamba from Loja. But we get a call that Quinn's got soccer games in Loja. So he's got three soccer games, and they're back to back, 2 sub-9 and 1 sub-8. So the coach is like, we need some, there's 3 games. Quinn was just coming out, getting off of being sick, so he wasn't going to play all 3 full games. So he's like, can you see if some of his teammates from the Yogo Benito Loja team can play? So I messaged some parents to get them to come. In the meantime, as we're getting ready to go to Loja, Bella's got asked to go on this horse ride with this horse group, with Wilson and Renee and all those guys that do like all the proper the horse shows. But she thought it was a horse ride. So I'm like, yeah, go for the horse ride. So she doesn't come. So we end up going to Loja for these 3 games. I've recruited, these kids. We get there for the first game. The other team doesn't show up. Okay? So then we're sitting there. You got to pay the ref. You pay so everybody's got to pay. Every kid has to pay the $1.50 or whatever it is to pay for the ref, even though they didn't play. Second game comes around, the team doesn't show up. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding. Then all the parents and the kids, they took the bus. We took the bus. We ended up going in a taxi with another family. But there was a bus that took all the kids. All the kids in the family decided, well, we've missed 2. We've already paid for 2 games that we didn't get to play. We don't want to risk spending $1.50 to not play. So let's forfeit the last game and go back. So I'm like, you got to be kidding. Like, really? But that's what they decided to do. I'm like, okay. So we win the first 2 games on forfeit. We forfeit the 3rd game. Don't even play. We're waiting for the bus now because we're going home. There was space on the bus. Like, you guys come back on the bus with us. Fine. Okay. So we go on. We're getting ready, waiting for the bus. The team shows up. We're all sitting around just already forfeited. Like, and the kids are like, what the heck? So then we get on the bus. We're like 5 minutes on the bus. All of a sudden he pulls over and we hear the coach is like, you guys want to go to Hapiro Park? Yeah. I'm like, what the hell? I'm looking at Tiffany. I'm like, what's going on? We go to Hapiro Park. Everybody gets off. The bus driver's like, I got to get my brakes fixed. So I'm gonna go get my brake fixed. You guys hang out here for like an hour, and then I'll come pick you back up. I'm like, oh my God. So we're just hanging out in Hapiro Park, which is always fun.
Yeah, Hapiro's great.
Yeah, Hapiro. And so we're hanging out at Hapiro Park. He comes back an hour or so later, hour and a half. He's got his brakes fixed. We come back into town. In the meantime, we find out it wasn't a horse show, or it wasn't a horse race. It was a horse show. So Bella's on, like, in this costume and like doing this horse show in front of the square that we missed, and we had no idea. It was just like a comedy of errors. And then she was supposed to perform. We rushed back from the thing because she was supposed to perform, and this is what I wanted to get to. There was the gratitude piece. There was one of the kids' dads who I asked, to come from his Loja team to the game to help out. His dad's like, hey, I'm coming to Vilcabamba later. Can we hang out, or would you come to the inauguration? I'm like, the inauguration of what? And he's like, we're inaugurating the new paved roads. And I'm like, oh, and I'm thinking, like, you got to be kidding. Like, all right, cool, right? But this is awesome. So it was a huge thing, dude. Maybe the most unused roads in all of Vilcabamba that are now paved over by Dumplings and Noodles, by the hospital there. But it's nice roads now. Yeah. Not very well used, not very, used very often.
They needed to pave them.
I'm glad they're paved. Yeah. But dude, there was bands and dancing. The mayor of Loja was here. The mayor of Vilcabamba. Everybody, the lieutenant general of the military. All these people. It was this big ride. Actually, a band that was awesome. But it was this big, huge to do. And it was awesome to see like how grateful people were just to celebrate, like the paving of roads that we kind of take for granted where we're from. Like, but no, this was like a big deal. People were traveling an hour plus, in some cases, just to be there for the inauguration of the roads. And there was this group of elders that did this dance. It was so beautiful,
I've seen
man.
That.
And they're throwing flowers, and there's like flower petals everywhere. And then the women were like dancing. Their kind of routine took them in front of like the mayor, the line of Quezada and Victor Carpio and the rest of the crew, and they're like intentionally like chucking flowers in their faces and like, it was great, But it was one of those things that, I'm like, wow, they're so grateful for this, and like it was refreshing, and it was cool to be part of. And Belle was supposed to dance for that, and then all of a sudden she wasn't dancing, and then she ended up dancing later that night at like 8 o'clock or something, or 9 o'clock in front of the church. So yeah, it was just one of those days, man. It was just like Ecuador in a nutshell.
Yeah. I was watching on her Facebook stories somebody's video of your daughter's dance group in the park, and then you in front of them filming the dance group. And we're like, oh, really? That's what Verano was doing last night.
Yeah.
There's so many of those. Well, first of all, Ecuador does pomp and circumstance very strongly. I mean, you can have a 3-hour ceremony over seemingly nothing, constantly, which it's interesting. I mean, they'll bring out the police band and all the different bands, and they don't mess around with that stuff at all. But yeah, there's no shortage of just sort of heartwarming stories, and just things that you come in contact with all the time. The people's level of flexibility here is just, by me, so appreciated. People's level of humanity. I think of all the different, well, for example, this girl who occasionally, takes care of Jacob and Joseph. If we have something, specifically we have to go do, we'll call her and she'll pick them up, hang out with them. And, it's like, what does that look like back home, right? It's maybe a teenage girl who's on her phone all the time and doesn't really care and is more in it for the money, and it's expensive, and you're worried about the level of care and do they really care, and all it's like a lot, and you're gonna have to give very specific instructions, and the person who's taking care of them is gonna be very concerned about, are they doing it right, and what are all the do's and don'ts, and it's just like a lot goes into it, right? And because this is just a child-centric, human-centric culture, just about any female knows what to do well and will do a good job. Now, this girl, I think, particularly has a lovely energy and is very enthusiastic and into it, which is amazing, and has a nice connection with the boys. So it's really nice, but I don't have to. She'll do whatever makes sense under the circumstances. I don't have to worry about it at all. She doesn't need any instruction. I'll give her some. Hey, I want them to eat at these places and not these places, for example, because I don't want them eating crap. Or I might say hey, take them to the river. Or I might say something occasionally just because I want something for them to do something. But we go to pick them up last night, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I don't even have to tell the story. It's just beautiful. I had another funny kind of thing, and they're not even funny. It's just the way things work here. They're funny if you're not from here, then they're funny. But so Kirsten wanted to update her Cedula.
Okay. Because you wanted a different picture.
Probably something like that.
Right.
I'm like, I said to her, I'm like, why? Her Cedula expired, but it's not mandatory as a foreigner to have a Cedula here. There's no reason she would ever actually need it.
Flopsy?
No. But that's I still don't know how you could see the chickens if you thought that was Flopsy. So she wants to update her Cedula. So I said to her a couple of times, why? And she, she just wants to. And I'm like, okay. But it's it's a pain. We got to get orden de Celebración or orden de something.
Yeah.
Some piece of paper, but it's not easy as a foreigner. You've got to there's some things. So me being who I am and the way I, operate here, I don't, I just call people for whatever I need. I use my network, and that's kind of what you do here anyway. You go through people, you use your relationships to live your life, to just get life done here. So Joseph, Gruznai is, I call him and he gets me the orden of whatever I needed. And he sends it to me physically, through the mail from Quito. So I have that, and that has a 20 days. It expires in 20 days, and so day reminds me it expires on the 25th, which is in a few days. So I'm like, all right, I got to take care of this. So we're going to Loja yesterday to do a bunch of stuff, including this. And I'm realizing as I'm going, I'm like, this is Ecuador. None of this stuff is ever simple. So I'm like, I better call Alicia and have her go and pave the way at this place. So I have to go to the civil registry in Loja, where you do all this kind of stuff. And if it's, so I leave a message for Alicia. I'm like, hey, can you? This is on my way. I'm like, hey, can you go to the registro and I have to do this? Like, can you just make sure it's set up, because I just know how these things work, and I'm sure she I'm sure has a contact there, someone she can talk to, who can make sure we're good. So she does. She goes, but I get there, and we go to talk to the guy, and she's asking me like if I have the like turno, which is like your spot, like your
ticket,
like you're registered basically. So, and I'm like, and so Idea's explained to me that like Monica, who's our admin, like couldn't make one because Kirsten's not in the system, and blah 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 blah. And there's like some whole story as to why we don't have whatever we're supposed to have. So I'm there, and so I'm like, okay. So Alicia's like, oh well, So the first thing we do is we go and talk to the guy, and the guy's explaining that, well, yes, he can give me one, but the next one available is for, a week or something. And I'm explaining to him, well, I have this order de Cedulación or whatever it was. It expires in the 25th, is in a few days. Talked to him for a while. He's like, well, you had to make a turn online, do a thing online. I'm like, well, we tried, but she's not in the system. And he's showing me, well, you can do it this way. And I'm like, okay, well. And I don't know, it wasn't even me doing it. So I don't even know, whatever. So I'm trying to figure the whole thing out. So I already know it's going to get worked out because this is Ecuador, but it's one of these like kerfluffles that you run into here all the time, right? So me and Alicia are trying, so I say, all right, well, so let's go pay. So at least we've paid. So you don't pay in the civil registry. You go next door to a bookstore that has also a photocopy machine where they make copies and stuff and print things. You go there and you pay there. So
same in immigration. You have to.
Yeah.
You go to immigration, but then you have to leave immigration.
Go to the bank or something.
Go pay at the bank and come back and give them the receipt.
Right. So so it's the same thing. So I go next door to the bookstore, pay for the civil registry for the Cedula. It's like $19 or something. So we pay. We come back, and we go, and we're like, all right, well, I'm like, we got to go talk to the boss. But I'm like, let's just go talk to the worker, because I've done that before. There's this nice guy who had done that before where he wasn't supposed to, and he did. And then Alicia's like, yeah, but he's not there. It's only her today. She's not going to do it. And I looked at her. I was like, you're right. So we go up to the boss, right? So he's this young guy. Look, I swear it had to be Pablo Luna's family. I asked him, but he wasn't sure. But it looked just like him. So we're there, and there's some people waiting to talk to him. So we wait maybe 15 minutes. We go in. I shake his hand. He's the head of the whole civil registry in Loja. Imagine trying to talk to that guy in a city back in a 250,000 person city back home on the spur of the moment. Anyway, so I explained to him the problem. Of course, I BS him a little bit. I tell him, we're leaving the country in a couple of days, which we are, but my daughter isn't. The rest of us are. And then so he calls my bluff. He's like, show me the ticket. So I show him, I'm showing him for the rest of our family, but she's not on it. And he's like, well, wait, it doesn't have her name. And I'm like, this is the whole thing. He's like, you're not really traveling. I'm like, well, we are, but she's not. He basically caught me lying to him. But anyways, we're building rapport, and talking. And so then he says, okay, he says, well, I'm new here. He says, I'm new here. He says, I think that you need this whole thing from the Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores, He's like, do you have that? I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I have this piece of paper. I think this is what I need. He makes a phone call. It comes back. That was the piece of paper we needed. So he didn't know. It was like this, this whole thing is hilarious. So then we're talking. I'm asking him, like, are you related to Pablo Luna? And then he's like, well, maybe. We're going through that whole thing. And then eventually he says to me, he's like, all right, I'm going to help you out. He's like, I want, I'm going to help you out because, when I go to your country, I want that in return, I'm like, well, I hope I have that power when I get there, And so we do that, and then we go now to do the Cedula, and of course we're missing something, so I have to go back to the bookstore to make a copy of something, bring it back. And they do the whole thing, and they're making her do her hair in a certain way, and she wants to take the picture a second time, and we're going through this whole thing with the lady. We've been here probably 2 hours now at this point. We finish all of that, and now you go downstairs, and you're supposed to wait 20 minutes for this, and they're supposed to give you the cedula. So they do the next round of giving the cedulas, maybe 20, 30 minutes later, but they don't have hers, and she's like, well, they said I can come back tomorrow. I was on the phone, and she said, oh, maybe we can come back tomorrow, or we can wait another, 20 minutes. Well, okay, let's just wait. Well, we wait. So then the place closes, and we've been there probably 3 hours now. The place closes, and it's taking forever. It's 10, 15 minutes after closing. There's maybe 4 or 5 people waiting for their cedula still. And the boss comes again. And in the typical, friendly, kind, Loja mannerism, and I asked him if he's from Loja. He was. A big picture of Daniel Limboa, the president, behind behind his desk. Explains to us that, there's this process, and it's in Quito, and they don't control it, and it's outside of their hands, and it's not ready, and, please come back tomorrow, and we apologize, and da-da-da. And and it's just like the very typical scene here. Nobody's frustrated, nobody's upset. It's smiles and thank you very much, and we appreciate it. And I leave that place with 3 or 4 new relationships. And it's just like the way it is.
People definitely have, in general, more patience, more I don't know if it's the time isn't money thing or whatever it is with the culture there, Mary from Yugoslavia that's here, or she's from Vancouver now, but originally from Yugoslavia. She was telling me today, we were at the juice factory, and she was telling me how the place she's renting, the Ecuadorian, I don't know if it's her landlord or a neighbor, she's like, I just have felt so welcomed. We're sitting, we're having coffee together, and we're just in the middle of the day on a work day, and it's she has time to come over and help me do this, and she's like, it's just been a beautiful experience, how my life, how culture was back, in Yugoslavia. I think she referenced, there was a time where people lived more like that, and she hasn't had that experience being in Vancouver and being in a city, and hadn't had that in a while. So it was refreshing, and you could see on her face how appreciative she was to be able, and almost shocked that it was here and the culture was here, and it was, but she seems happy, and just another example of that,
Yeah. No, again, if you want to slow down and relax and tune in, it's a good place for that.
Yeah. If you're ready for it.
If you're ready for it. Yeah. If you want it and you're ready.
Right. You have to want it. You have to be ready for it. And if you don't want it, you're just going to be bored.
Well, bored and frustrated.
Frustrated. Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of that too, goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The stories you tell yourself, because it's all just your own perspective. Because for as many people, I don't know if maybe that's not true, but as many people as there are that come here and appreciate and experience what we're talking about and appreciate what you're talking about, that only opens up to you if you're able to experience and appreciate what we're talking about. There's also people that come here with other thoughts in their head, and I hear once in a while people saying things that are so antithetical to the way the culture is here and the way people are here, about the people and culture here, or experiences people have here, that it's almost like the politics phenomenon or every other phenomenon right now, where there's 2 realities.
Yeah.
Where you'll see people who, those people who tell you that Ecuadorians are racist and hate gringos and don't want us here. Those people tell you that. Yeah. And 12 years in, I have yet to have even the slightest feeling of that in any capacity. Not to say there's not some guy somewhere that's angry at the world and angry about everything, and maybe gringos included, but there's no,
And there's probably some gringos here that Ecuadorians don't like.
Oh, sure. Sure. Well, and that part's important. The way we behave and the way we assimilate and the way we treat people and act here matters a lot in that way, because it's stuff that's very normal back home is offensive here. and you can't, you can't behave that way. Like,
yeah, but if you're open to it and you take the time to understand it, like it can be really rewarding to have it. Like we had an Ecuadorian family over for dinner last night.
mm-hmm.
Well, the mother's in the States. She's actually, I think she's in New York. But the father and his 3 boys, they were over here hanging out for hours. Actually the boys slept over.
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of thing. Like he has one of the boys, 2 of the boys. He's got an older boy, it's like maybe 16, and then a 9 and a 7-year-old, and the older boy said something about the younger boy sleeping over, and Tiff's like, Tiff talked to me. I'm like, yeah, it's fine with me, whatever. And she told Diego, like, yeah, it's okay. Do you want are you good with the boys spending the night? And he's like, I don't know if Iker would be up for it. And all of a sudden Iker's like, yes, Daddy. Yeah. And then Jesus is like, Daddy, me too. No, you don't forget about me. And then it was great. And they hung out and,
I was talking to Alicia and her, as we've talked about on the pod before, but her husband, Jose, is in the States.
Yeah. Found work.
He's having a hard time. Yeah. It's really bad.
It's tough.
It's really bad. And I felt really bad because I kind of implored him not to go.
Yeah.
I really told them, like, it's not what you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I told her again, I was like, look, things are not good there right now and could get a lot worse. He should come home. Like, at least here he's got his family, and you don't have he doesn't have the same economic opportunity here that he does there, theoretically. But the way with there being such a flood of immigration over the past couple of years, it's changed the labor market there dramatically, where you've got a lot of Latinos essentially who have gone to the States to make a better life, to look, to work, but can't find work. Mm-hmm. And it's not a good situation.
Yeah.
And he was saying too. Sorry to interrupt. He was saying, like, Jose, who's there, and he's a really nice guy. Him. Like, he was saying that the people that are there, he was saying, like, a lot of the, like, immigrants, saying, like, they're bad. He was saying like it's not this kind of culture, the people who went. And even Alicia was telling me, like, we know the people from Loja who went, and he's like the worst people. And he was saying it's like a lot of people from Guayaquil, he was talking about Ecuadorians, but he was saying also like Venezuelans and Colombians and others. And and he was saying, like, the people, and I'm not representing this view, this is just what Alicia was saying. Like, he's saying, like, it's a little, like, he was a little on edge. It wasn't the Ecuadorians and Latinos that he's used to, coming from here, who are, like, there. He's like, it's a little shady, basically.
Right. There's probably a level of shady kind of desperation, cutting edge, competition.
Yeah.
It's way different.
Yeah, and again, it's such a different scenario. Like, when you think about, because I view the time we're in as sort of the great reveal, which includes the collapse of everything artificial, essentially, right? I mean, for me, that's the time period that we're in. And we're seeing that step by step. And, if you look at that, right, the places that are the most artificial, the places that have the most amount of things in between you and your life, rules, regulations, government, outside influences, systems you rely on, artificial systems, things that are between basically you and God, or you and the earth, or you and your food supply, or you and yourself, or you and, your family, and food and water and shelter and all these kinds of things. The places that have the most sort of fakeness, the most sort of artificial stuff, that's
disconnectedness.
Disconnectedness, exactly. That's where that's where this period we're in, it is, and then increasingly becomes the most difficult, right? Yeah. That's the furthest to fall, the furthest difference in reality.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, when I look at a place like this where the communities are already so strong, the people are already so resourceful, there's no winter, people are not used to relying on institutions, and they don't have all the rules and regulations. It's already a place where you work things out person to person and human to human. Then I think of like life back home, or life in Europe, or life in some of the Asian countries, or life in some of these places that have hyper sort of regulated, hyper sort of put lots of layers between yourself and your fellow man, yourself and your doctor, yourself and your health, yourself and your food, yourself and your, complicated supply chains and complicated systems of all kinds. And you don't rely on yourself for your safety, you don't rely on yourself for your food, you don't rely on yourself for your heat, you don't rely on
technological interface between it all. Yeah.
And it's like, that's, it makes me a little sad for him to be there,
right,
when he's from here.
Yeah.
And it makes, it's like, it's comforting also in a certain way, being here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all different cultures and traditions have talked about the Great Reveal or the Apocalypse or, the Revelations. Like, there's all different ways to look at that. And people talk about, it's hard to refute that we're in that phase, right? It's hard to refute as more and more, of these conspiracy theories are, people are waking up to that they're not conspiracies nor theories. They may be conspiratorial aspects to them, but they're not theories. That these things are actually happening, and as we're learning about this stuff, it feels like we're in that phase. Like it's a transition. I don't believe the Great Reveal, the great, the Apocalypse, the Revelation is this acute moment, specific moment.
Nor do I.
It's not like this.
I think we're at least 4+ years in.
Yeah, and maybe longer. Right.
There's no definitive start.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like this, evolution.
Cyclical nature of time.
Yeah. So like but to be trending through that right now at this particular time with how, disconnected so much of the population is from the earth and from ourselves, yet how connected we all are through technology right now. It's just this wild, crazy experience that how do you separate, from that? Do you even want to separate from that? Is this what is it supposed to be? Like, this is how it's supposed to be, right? Like, that we're so connected yet disconnected at this, maybe more connected than we've ever been, yet maybe more disconnected at our hearts than we've ever been. It's just this weird time, man. Yeah, it's awesome. It's exciting.
It's a very dichotomous time.
Yeah.
On every level.
Yeah.
In every way.
And I don't think you can argue that there are multiple realities running at the same time.
No question.
Right now, and it's
more, and that's more prominent than ever. Yeah.
Right, with the false dichotomy and two-party politics in the United States, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, that's the clearest example
of all of it. Yeah.
That's like a prominent, that's the most popular thing in the world right now. Look at right. So the fact that right there, they're giving you the most popular thing that everybody's interested in. Most people.
Yeah.
That is a blatant example of witnessing the same things from different perspectives and having two different realities.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, that's wild.
Yeah, it's a great example of that. And yeah, I think 2020 and the stuff that went on after that was another tremendous example of that.
Now the dry run, grid outage that CrowdStrike just had, and see what happens. Because again, to your point, where if you're concerned about things like that being in your reality or on the timeline you're in, you know, where those happen, like where do those happen? Where do those happen, right? Where would that happen where it would be not fun to live through? We've had power outages here,
Right.
you know?
No big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a mild inconvenience sometimes. It didn't even really, I kind of enjoyed it in some ways. But there was no chaotic, acute response to that. Power goes out for a week or a couple days, even 3 days in Chicago or New York. Man, I'm not sure I want to know what that looks like.
Right.
I don't trust that would be an orderly, non-violent situation, right? Because for lots of reasons, you know, like the people here, partly because of the climate, you know, everybody has gardens, everybody's growing food, there's fruit trees growing wild in public areas, you know, there's wild chickens, there's everybody has their own chickens, or they have cows, or they have cuy, or they have rabbits, and they have, you know, so like the food, people don't have pantries, they're not storing food because they don't need to. In the States, I remember growing up with my grandma, living with them, my grandparents, for 18 years we lived together, and she would, you know, from Italy, they're canning food for the winter still, like, putting it in the cellar, canning peppers and canning tomatoes and canning stuff and root cellaring, and I know there's like niche culture, niche populations in the States that still do that. But the general populace, people don't do that stuff anymore. People don't store food. They're not prepared for that kind of stuff. So, you know, if the internet alone goes out for a week, let alone the power, there would be some chaos. If the power goes out and people can't go to 7-Eleven or can't go to Whole Foods to buy some food because they're out in 3 days, like it's probably not a pretty situation.
No. I mean, it kind of goes back to the distance you are from God, or the distance you are from the earth or yourself, because if you're living in those climates, winter is something that should and needs to be prepared for.
Agreed.
Right? Like, it's just a
prudence.
Fact of life.
Yep.
So if you've outsourced that, right, if you said, okay, the system's got me,
yep,
perhaps it does.
Perhaps the system's got you.
It does not. right.
Perhaps the system's got you.
Right. Exactly.
Got you in a way you weren't hoping.
Mm-hmm. Such is life on Earth.
What a time to be alive, Jesse Bear.
It's beautiful, man. It's thrilling, really.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's quite thrilling.
It's thrilling.
It's good.
I love it. I'm going home for a little bit.
Yeah? Same?
I haven't been home during this summer in probably 4 to 5 years. Probably 5 years, probably.
Wow. So pre-COVID.
Yeah, well, because you couldn't travel in 2020, right? At least for a period.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was summer 2020 had COVID? Yeah, it was probably not a time I traveled, I would imagine.
I don't recall. But...
So it was probably 2019.
Okay.
I hadn't been home at all until last Christmas, and now I get to go home this summer. It's good.
Summer's nice.
I've evolved and changed a lot in the last 4 years. I'm looking forward to seeing some places and doing some things that, with the current perspective.
Right.
And
a beard.
And a beard. Less, yeah. I would say less hair. I'm not sure about less hair. Maybe the same amount of hair.
Net plus in hair.
Yeah. So that'd be nice.
Yeah. Do you have plans already? You got it laid out?
Yeah, we'll go out to my mom/sister's area for a few days. Hit the beach. It'll be lovely. And be with the boys. Kirsten's will be with you.
Sure.
And I'm going to see my dad for a bit, see my cousin. Should be very nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
A couple weeks? What are you doing?
Yeah, like a week and a half.
Okay.
That's a short trip. Iday's going to do this retreat.
Nice.
So it was a good opportunity to kind of go at the same time. I'd been wanting to go. So, yeah.
Cool.
Excited about it.
Yeah, we're heading back as well. We're going to go meet some friends in Mexico, hopefully, if I get my passports back in time. And then, yeah, hopefully I'll get my passports and I'll be a permanent resident of Ecuador at that point. So it's kind of exciting
Watch out,
milestone, exciting milestone for us. Yeah, we'll do that. We got some friends that we're gonna meet there that I can't quite make the trip to Ecuador. So we'll meet them in the middle, have some fun there, and then back to the States for a couple weeks to go meet my uncles and cousins up in the boundary waters between Minnesota and Canada. Do that fishing trip, that family tradition. So I'm looking forward to that. And
Nice.
yeah, and then we got to renew Belle and Quinn's passports are expiring, so we got to renew those. So hopefully we can. This first week we get there, we're getting those on the expedited process. So hopefully we don't have a return flight yet because we have to wait to see what happens with those.
I think that's pretty quick in general if it's expedited.
Yeah, see.
All right.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, if this place is interesting to you, we do have a Vilcabamba lifestyle retreat, maybe our 6th or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Vilcabamba lifestyle retreat, October 12th.
Yep.
Hosted at the beautiful Cedula. It is an amazing 9-day experience where you get a crash course on Ecuador. You get to sample all the restaurants. You get expert panels, Q&As on every topic, literally every relevant topic too. Moving here, you get to see all the different areas around this region. It's really a beautiful time. It's a lot of camaraderie is built, lifelong friends. It's a lot of fun, and it's comfortable. There's some downtime built in, a complimentary massage, and we try to really give you, a feel for the life here, and basically take multiple years worth of learning and give it to you in 9 days in a really concise, expert way. So if that's interesting to you, hit the link below. Come on down. We'd love to hang out. These are a lot of fun for us as well as the participants. So.
Oh, it's because it's so awesome to see people excited about this. And let me backtrack a little. Everybody that comes down isn't excited about this place,
right?
But the folks that are making a point to participate on the retreat, they're getting the most out of it. Whether they decide at the end of it that it's not for them or it is irrelevant. They're making the most out of it, and it's so refreshing for me to see these folks experience this place for the first time and either have their expectations blown away or learn things that they never thought, or just to see the change in their minds and their expectations on what life can be like after being here. That's exciting, man, because you see physical changes in people, let alone mental changes in just the 9 days.
Yep.
So that's been the most special part, man.
Yeah, I mean, for people that this place works for, it changes their life. Yeah. And you do see that immediately.
Right.
You see their eyes light up, their skin, the whole thing. It's beautiful.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Well, if you guys have made it this far, if you're still listening to Lil CK and I blabber, thank you. We appreciate you watching. If you haven't liked the video and you're still watching, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. We appreciate the support. Drop some comments or questions below in the comments. We try to answer all the comments. Sometimes it takes a little longer than others, but we try to get everybody's questions answered. So drop the comments and questions below. Correct us if we misspoke. We misspeak every episode, so definitely correct us where we misspoke, particularly Jesse. And we'd love to see you down here one day.
So until then,
we'll see you next time, guys.
Take care, everyone.
Ciao.
You like that? Anything to make you happy, bro.
It's good. It's good. Well,
just gonna point. Hey, what was it? Do this. You score a touchdown. Just point to the name on the back.
Yeah, he hate me. Remember?
Rod Smart.
Yeah. Oh. Ah. You know, I went and saw the XFL live.
Did you? You wouldn't do that. No, you wouldn't do that. I think I would have done it at that age as well. Yeah. It was high school for me.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think it's back, right?
Is it back?
I thought The Rock started saying or brought some football league to life. It might be XFL.
No, I think I heard
some version of it.
Yes, he has sold his soul, so he's allowed to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But not for much longer.
Oh, man, I like, you ever watch any of that show he did called Ballers?
That rings a bell, but I can't remember.
He was an NFL agent.
Oh, was that? No, you're not talking about. Wow, you reminded me of this. I hadn't thought of this. What was that, Arliss?
Arliss.
That was great. That was great, but not that.
Yeah, it was. His show was all. It had like cameos from real life NFL players.
Arliss was like that, or you mean Ballers?
No, Ballers was like
both.
That. They were both like that. Yeah, but The Rock's was more like a mainstream kind of.
This was The Rock.
The Rock, yeah. The Rock. Dwayne Johnson. I wonder, is that Rocky Maivia? What's his real name?
It's not Dwayne Johnson.
I don't know where he is real.
I think it was.
Yeah, I think his real name is Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. He was a defensive lineman at Miami U.
He was.
Next to Warren Sapp.
Did he play next to Sapp?
Yep.
I thought wrestlers aren't athletes, Jesse.
I didn't say that. I
You
said
said that. They're just men playing around in swimsuits.
worse than that, but yeah.
They're pretty athletic guys.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. They sacrifice their bodies.
Yeah. Now you're cold.
Oh, I'm like tearing.
Because you're so cold.
So emotional thinking about wrestling.
You know, The Rock playing next to Warren Sapp.
Some good memories, man.
What exactly?
Wrestling memories?
Wrestling. Nostalgic wrestling memories.
Dude, like when Hogan slammed Andre the Giant.
Stop it,
bro. Like, it was epic.
I know Andre the Giant from some cameo appearance in some movie.
Yeah. Yes, of course you do. Stop rhyming. I mean it. Anybody want a peanut?
What is that? I don't know what this is.
Princess Bride.
Oh.
You don't remember him, a cameo? He was in a cameo. He was a character in Princess Bride.
I don't remember that movie good. Well.
You don't know? Princess Bride is like your esoteric wheelhouse, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was he? No, that was a different guy. I was
I
thinking.
can't believe you don't know. What?
I mean, that was like Steve Martin, maybe?
No.
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 I'm way off.
Well,
I don't know.
my name is Diego Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. You don't know anything.
I remember that. I don't know.
You do remember that?
I mean, I've heard that line, but I can't, like, no, I'm not, like, yeah.
Okay. You should watch it.
Yeah, the list, well, okay. I guess that's irrelevant. What I was going to say is irrelevant.
That your list of movies to watch is too long?
No. What wasn't that?
You know what I want to watch?
What do you want to watch?
I want to watch the new versions of the movie Dune. They did Dune 1 and 2, and I think they're working on the third part. Mm-hmm. But I've heard that they're fabulously well done from like a cinematic, music, score, acting,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting story for these times as well.
Yeah. You didn't respond to my voice note about...
I did. Hey, babe.
You know I forwarded you that, right?
No.
Yeah, that was a message I'd sent to Ide.
Oh.
But I was like rushing all around. So I'm like, if I just forward this to Brandon, then he will understand.
Which I did, but I forwarded it to her,
thinking.
In case you
Sent it to you by accident.
Yeah. And you know what she said? I said, I think this was meant for you. And she said, I think you're right because he said to meet at Brandon's house, but otherwise I wouldn't know.
No, she's sneakily funny from time to time, bro. That's great. Oh, that's hilarious. No, you didn't respond to my voice note about the peace dealer.
Peace dealer. Okay. Refresh my memory.
Kamala Harris and the peace dealer.
Okay.
Man,
I did.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's saying. I mean,
No, but he was saying that when they were running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say, you know, like, there's all the, you know, prophecies with the Simpsons and stuff, and, you know, and it's weird how, like, even back then, the first woman president in the Simpsons was wearing, like, this purple suit with this white beaded necklace, and then when Kamala, I think it was maybe on the inauguration as vice president, she wore literally Lisa Simpson's.
Same, yeah.
Like,
There's so many things like that. So, all right, so here's an interesting question. So is the Simpsons a time traveler? That's like what's the explanation for the Simpsons phenomenon? It's time travelers. It's the people that run the world telling you or doing some sort of predictive programming. Or, wait, I had this a second ago. Let me just get it back because this is the only part that's interesting is if it's this or not. So, fuck, I don't have any way to put this into words. So,
stop saying F.
So,
And you have too many bleeps.
we're in that place in the world. We're in that place in the world where there isn't even quite proper language for the reality we're living in.
It's a strange time. It's a unique time. It's tough to add context to concepts.
So it's like one of those like chicken or the egg questions that I can't really say very well right now.
Yeah, like is she doing that to manifest that reality? That she's the first.
Well, that's an interesting one too.
Oh, that's not what you're going after.
That's an interesting one too.
Right, that's the third. That was.
But that's that's kind of what I mean by that though. Is like,
right.
Is it coming in from this side or from this side?
Right. Is it this happened, and now that there's this collective consciousness that believes this about the Simpsons, that it's either a time traveler or people that control the world. So now there's this powerful
creates
consciousness.
That timeline. Yeah.
So now are the people that understand the stuff, and now it's like Kamal's like, I'm wearing that. You know.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know, like I'm gonna manifest that. Look how powerful this can be now. And then people are talking like you and I. Now we're talking about her.
Yeah.
Wearing that. You know.
Yeah.
Is that putting it out there in the ether? You know, that's
right.
That's what I thought.
Interesting. Yeah, that is kind of what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. So who knows, man? It's black. End of the day, does it even matter?
At all. Not at all.
I don't know. It's fun.
It's funny.
No, it's entertaining beyond measure. I mean, it is.
I don't find it that way at all. Yeah, I know you do. I find it at best. I find it two things. I find it comical.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I mean.
And distracting if you pay attention to it.
Well, I think it can be. I think the point of it is to be distracted. I think that's purpose,
one of the main points.
One of the main purposes of it. But that's also for ants in the matrix. That's what that's what the program is for, the design. Yeah. But if you remove yourself somewhat or completely from that, I mean, I don't know if you can completely from right.
There's always layers and levels.
But if you can separate yourself from that, then the entertainment doesn't have. Then it can just be entertainment.
Yeah. But I just I don't know. For me, and we're different this way. I actually I'm a little jealous of your capacity to like operate in not the matrix, like kind of without a better way to say it, just like operate in the matrix to a degree and not have it like pummel you energetically.
Sometimes it does. Yeah, I mean,
like I can't, like I have to work very hard all the time to keep myself clean energetically to be able to like stay on mission and feel okay and be able to have a twinkle in my eye and be able to serve, you know, be able to be present and cohesive and coherent enough to be able to bring my peace to the, you know.
Yeah, and that's, you know, different missions, different.
Yeah, exactly.
Different things, man. Like,
yeah.
This is what I was here for. This is why I'm here.
It's true, right? It's true.
So, but it's still also, it's also in a way like a coping mechanism for the reality that we're living.
right.
You know?
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. I know exactly.
So like, there's so many crazy things that are happening and in the world, and understanding which crazy thing is real or not real, what information is real or not real, disinformation, misinformation, propaganda, intentional propaganda, predictive programming, intentional directed programming, you know, all this coming at you at once. Like there's just we're at like information overload. So part of it is like, it's in a way, it's a defense mechanism to just like be entertained, right? Ignorance is bliss. That's where it comes from in a way.
Yeah.
But it's like an intentional piece to be like, I don't believe life should be suffering. Like we've talked about this. You know, it's not, you know, blatant, full on, just suffer. But yeah, there's learned lessons, but finding joy and happiness and entertainment, you know, being entertained if it brings you joy and happiness or camaraderie, like that's, I think that's an important part of life. So for me, like when I look at this is like master level trolling, high level comedy that's just epic. So like whatever happens with the politics, like for me, I'm almost rooting for the most absurd, entertaining piece. Like let's see Big Mike enter the race. Let's see Hillary throw her name. Like let's figure out how the threat to democracy with, you know, is now just like whatever. Let's rationalize whatever it takes to bring, you know, like I want that storyline in a way to see, you know, how does the world respond to that? How does the U.S.? How do people? How like it's going to get crazier from here. The things that are happening are only going to get crazier. I mean, the last pod we alluded to some things, and since then, I mean, Joe Biden resigned from the candidacy. He's not running. Like what? Like that actually happened. Whether he knows he did or not, that's another question.
Yeah. Well, that was Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like these things are happening, and you're seeing, you know, a group of people that I talk to that are living in this, like that they want to sit, that don't understand, that don't believe it's a false dichotomy, they believe that this is a true democracy and every vote matters and all this, what I believe to be naive perspective on the current system, but they authentically believe it. They at their core, they believe that Trump was Hitler and he truly is a threat to democracy. And the irony of it is that they don't even see, like, all right, now he's out, whether he, now the 14 million votes that he got to win the primary, he's not even running anymore. But, Kamala's a better choice anyway, like, we're excited. And what about the threat to democracy? You didn't vote her into the primary. Like, you actually, they changed DNC, they changed rules so that he couldn't debate RFK. He couldn't, you know, like, that other people didn't have a chance to even win the primary. So you kind of leveraged democracy to get this guy in, and he's he's sharp, he's fine, he's blah, blah, blah. And now that he's out, it's like, oh, well, she's better. We like her. We're okay with it. We're the ones voting. But did you vote for her for president? Well, she was on the ticket, like she's young. All of a sudden, now Biden, all of a sudden Trump's the old guy. Is Trump fit to serve? He's so old, like those. It's just like, come on, right? So I just want, like for me, I want to see the fire get behind Kamala and get everybody riled up. Like, oh, she raised 81 million. Yeah, well, they've already come out and shown how that's complete BS with Act Blue and how they're bastardizing this donation program and taking, millions and millions of dollars and spreading it over voters, like poor people that that are living in people on welfare, and they're spreading votes. People are giving 18,000, 20,000, 200,000 over the last 4 years through Act Blue, and they've never donated. They've donated $100, but they're just manipulating the system that way. So like I want to see the irony continue to play out, and watch how it doesn't matter what happens. It's just going to be whatever the masters tell them to believe next is what's going to believe. And this is on both sides. Like I think it's going to get crazy regardless of who's behind the Oval Office over the next 4 years.
No question.
So it's not like I think Trump's the savior or the saint or whatever people are trying to make him out to be. I don't believe that. But I just want to see the entertainment. I want to see everybody get behind Kamala. Did you hear her nickname? Have you heard like all the stuff about how she's come up through the political ranks and Mayor Willie Brown and Mistress and Montel Williams, and they're calling her the elusive Suckalitacox. We might have to bleep that. But I want to see like everybody get behind it, rally, do this manipulation, do this woman behind the curtain.
Yeah, that's the point.
And then after a couple months, something happened, and we're closer to we're at the convention, and next thing I want to see Michelle Obama's name in the ring. I want to see then what? Which savior is yours now? Is it Kamala? Are we going to bail on Kamala?
No, I mean it's in like it's funny because I'm sure you're aware of this, but the argument you're making is the Q argument.
What's the Q argument?
People have to be shown.
I don't understand. The Q argument?
Mm-hmm.
People have
to be shown. Like Q.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess.
Well, the justification that behind the Q, behind that operation, whatever you believe about it.
Yeah.
But like the justification behind it is that the whole point essentially is that people have to see for themselves. They have to be shown. You can't tell them, you have to show them. So that you're making that's the argument you're making. Like that.
Watch.
Yep, I got it. What you're appreciating about what's taking place is that.
Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean...
Is Q still around? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He, they?
I don't know.
Them? What do they identify? What does Q identify as?
I don't know.
You don't know what Q's pronouns are?
No.
Are they phonetic alphabet letter?
Q?
Identify.
Phonetic alphabet letter Q to you, sir? Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, that is how you go through, how you go about it. Yeah, that is what you use this stuff for.
What do you mean?
Yeah. No, you're good. You use it as entertainment exactly in the way you described. And you appreciate you appreciate how it all forces people to to question or not, but look at themselves or not, or to see the facade or not.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Again, it's the Q argument. But yeah, it's funny. I can't step one foot in that world, not one toe. Like even this level that we're talking about right now for me is like borderline to like where I can go with this stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. Everybody can't go. We don't need to go.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Right.
It's different. It's different blueprints.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure is. It's pretty windy.
It's funny, I was having this conversation with my wife the other day. Because sort of like our sort of thing is like, we kind of carry the capacities and capabilities in direct sort of, I don't know, not negative relation is the wrong phrase. It's like yin yang. So like what I'm good at is what she needs to learn, or what comes naturally to me is something she needs to learn. What comes naturally to her is something I need to learn. That's sort of like the thing. And so she was telling me something about, I was talking about the need for that, like a lesson that I'm learning is like, you know, the need for humility and having to care about stuff that I don't naturally care about, you know, like, and yeah, like it's so easy for me to get bogged down by other people's anything, you know, where it's like, so, and we were talking about that, and I was mentioning sort of like different blueprints, because for her, she's so empathetic, like she'll get really involved, right, you know, with anybody's problems. Mm-hmm. And for me, like I have very clear boundaries with that stuff, you know. And we have a little bit different philosophies on it, although she's learning from me the boundaries, and I'm learning a little bit from her how to like maybe be a little bit more, you know, caring in certain circumstances. But I was saying to her, it's different blueprints too, because it's like she can give people that ear, that shoulder to lean on, or that, you know, that empathetic thing that people need, or holding space in that way. And it's like, and I was saying to her, I was like, well, it's kind of interesting because I'm exceptionally good at that, but only if the person wants it. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, like, I don't even know. I almost look at it as a negative. Like, I almost look at it as, not only will I not be able to do them any good, I'll hurt myself in the process.
I mean, that's kind of most of the way how it goes, though, right?
Yeah.
If the person doesn't want it.
Right. No, that part is fun. I realized, too, like, I very much realized that, and it's funny, too, Sarah was talking about this today in the interview, but I very much realized that, you know, part of, or not, you know, a chunk of the reason why my journey through bad health and like healing myself has been what it's been is because I'll be able to help people afterwards. Like I'll be able, and that'll be fun. Like
you can help people out.
Yeah, and I've started a lot of that, but yeah. But I mean, I know the depths of it. Like I know how to I know how to take yourself from the pits of hell mentally and like pull yourself out of that and heal the body and the whole nine, like through that process. Mm-hmm.
It's good. Yeah. You know that if you're going through hell, don't stop.
And if the devil wants to dance,
just stop, drop, roll.
It's good, bro. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. All right. I see your chickens are eating your compost.
Yeah. Man, look at those healthy chickens, man. You don't see chickens like that running around.
You know damn well you can't see those chickens.
Dude, look at the size of those heifers. You don't see chickens running around like that in Vilcabamba.
I mean, you don't see chickens running around at all.
Look at the size of those.
Well, where are they?
Yeah, keep going. Upper left corner by the compost pile.
All right. Which one's on the left?
The black one.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Grayish black, whatever. Is it grayish black?
Well, there's a black one and gray one.
The brown one's on the right there with the black to the right of that. Yeah.
You can make out the chickens.
Hey.
Oh, gosh.
Look at the size of those things, man.
Are they
Those are healthy, big
They're
chickens.
too far away. I can't see them. All right, let's record a podcast.
I guess that's what we're here to do. Shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, you know what I forgot? I don't know if people are doing the English program. What did we do? Like, I saw that we bought it.
I sent it to them. I sent them a link. I sent them an email. I sent them WhatsApp. Yeah.
You did. So hopefully, we probably need some
Follow up.
something on that. Yes.
Yeah. Because I got no response yet from any of the communications.
We should talk about that, like running a business in Ecuador. That would be funny.
Very funny.
All right. Hello, welcome back to the Ecuador Insider Podcast. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel here. For real estate videos, click here. For content you're gonna absolutely love, right here. And to find out how these crazy guys got to Ecuador, click right here.